Hi, I'm Will Swain from Internet Lead Generation Consultancy Marketing Results, and welcome to episode 3 of Exponential Lead Generation Strategies. In this episode, we're going to look at some core strategies in website conversion and persuasion for business lead generation. In episode 1, I gave you a brief introduction to lead generation on the internet as I see it for product and service businesses. And then in episode 2, we looked at the traffic side of the equation. And in my experience, most companies' website optimization efforts focused almost exclusively on driving more traffic without really considering how to convert more of that traffic into customers. I think that's a mistake because it only looks at one half of the equation, and in fact it's often easier to boost the conversion rate of a website than it is to drive more traffic. So using the methodologies covered in this video, it's quite conservative to increase the net results of your website by 50% or more. So by applying a more focused and comprehensive improvement program, many companies have enjoyed 100, 200 or even 500% growth in web-generated leads or sales by simply making it easier and more enticing for users to engage with their content and actually make an inquiry or a purchase. So without further ado, let's look at how you can make that happen. Here's a brief preview of the topics we're going to cover in this video. Number 1 is to be outcome focused. Number 2 is to be customer centric. Number 3 is to do some usability testing. Number 4 is all about conversion heuristics or rules of thumb that help you improve the conversion of your website. Number 5 is about analyzing clickstream data, which is a quantitative approach. Number 6 is about conversion testing. Number 7, we're going to look at conversion funnels. And number 8 is prioritizing your approach. So let's get started with number 1. Be outcome focused. With a business website, you have to have a measurable goal. When you know what you're trying to achieve, it's much easier to marshal your forces to achieve that outcome. So here's a quick exercise for you. What's the goal of your website in 20 words or fewer? In the case of my main company, Marketing Results, the goal of the website is to attract business decision makers who are interested in boosting online profits and convert them into qualified sales leads. Another of my websites is called the Handcrafter's Companion. The goal of that website is to sell as many copies of the Handcrafter's Companion ebook as possible and build a large list of repeat customers. If you've never done this before, you may be surprised at how hard it is to come up with a succinct outcome statement, but give it a try. It will help you to focus your efforts. Once you have your outcome statement, you can start to quantify different conversion outcomes that are aligned with your goal. For example, the number of qualified inquiries, the number of sign-ups to your newsletter list, the average page views on your AdSense pages, and so on. For each of these conversion outcomes, you need to be specific and you need to have agreement across your whole organization. If marketing thinks that a qualified inquiry is anyone who fills in your inquiry form, but sales thinks it's an expression of interest from a decision maker in a company with at least 50 staff who is planning to make a purchase decision within the next 6 months, then you have a disconnect that you need to resolve. You can also track softer outcomes. For example, the percentage of surveyed website visitors who rate our online support as either very good or excellent. Another example is the number of times our brand is mentioned favorably in Technorati or other indicators of online buzz. Okay, great, so now you know what you're focused on achieving. This sounds elementary, but it's amazing how often you define your major outcomes, then look at your actual website and realize how different the reality is from your actual intention. That alone can be a valuable aha moment. So let's move on to the next conversion strategy, which is to be customer-centric. Being customer-centric is very simple. Find out what the customer wants and give it to them as quickly and efficiently as possible. Sometimes the customer doesn't really know the specifics of what would serve them best. If that's the case, your job is to serve them by supplying them with information and education to raise their awareness of the key issues so that they're able to make a purchase decision. Being customer-centric can start with simply putting yourself in the customer's shoes. Go to your website and try to complete a goal, such as researching the latest term deposit rates and making an inquiry about how to get started. I performed just such an analysis on a well-known financial institution's website, and it was incredibly frustrating. It turns out that the info was available on another website owned by the same company because, quote unquote, that's another division of the company. That's a classic example of letting company or divisional structure decide the layout of your website. When you restructure to match the needs of the customer, the results and the improvements can be dramatic. Another good pointer is to speak the language of your customer. Actually use the words your customer uses to speak about your product. Use jargon and obscure acronyms sparingly or not at all. The next strategy we'll cover is about usability testing. Usability testing is one of the best conversion boosting tools in your toolbox. And what it is it's actually observing customers navigating your website and performing specified tasks while you look over their shoulder and see where they get stuck. To do it-yourself usability testing, you can start with as few as a dozen subjects. Give each person one or more specific tasks, such as sign up to our white paper on mortgage reduction strategies, or find out what kind of monitor cable to buy for your XYZ model computer and purchase it on our online store. Then you observe how the users behave, where they look on your site, where they click, their body language and reactions. But it's important not to offer hints or answer questions about how to do something. Instead, you should ask a question like, if this was the case at your home or office, what would you do next? Simply by observing how users behave on your website, you can actually find out where a lot of people are getting stuck and fix up those problems. Yes, usability testing can get much more sophisticated than this, but by going through the above process, you can really gain some useful insights and make changes on your website that can have a dramatic effect. So those are some quick pointers for usability testing, and as I said, you can do it yourself in-house, or you can engage a professional company to do it on a more sophisticated level for you.